العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم وبعد. وما أكرمنا بدون الفهم وأخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم وافتح علينا بمعرفة العلم وسهل أخلاقنا بالحلم وجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
السلام.
I think okay. Barakallah. For the other, again, I have to use the mic.
Yeah.
I apologize every week, inshallah. So, we're starting something new, and we should start making a sincere intention is to mention the various views which I've stopped doing for a while, which I should, inshallah. We're going to start with this chapter. So, it's something new. Zeenatul Musafir, 184. Okay. Let's get my bearings straight again. Here we go. So, Zeenatul Musafir. So, this chapter of Salah is very extensive. We spoke about Salah even in a combat situation. We spoke about Salah when it's raining. We spoke about Salah when, and the benefits of Salah. So Salah is very powerful. It's our connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Salah is never ever neglected in any situation. And one of the situations that many of us find ourselves in is traveling. So traveling. When we speak about traveling, they need to cover a certain distance to be considered as traveling. So let's look at what is considered as traveling that will impact our Salah. So there are two compensations that Allah has given to us. The one is qasr, to shorten your Salah, and the other one is jam, to join Salah. And the reason, or one of the wisdoms of that, if you're traveling, things are difficult for you, and it's easier, and Allah makes it easier for you to perform the joining of salahs and to shorten the salah. So, for what? How do? Because when we can be distracted, and while we are on journey. So, firstly, salah is made easy, so we have no excuse. It's number one. And number two is that when we can focus, when we have a shorter time to focus on our ibadah, when we engage in ibadah at a shorter time, it's easier to focus. Imagine you're on a plane and you have to perform the 4 rak'ats at the proper times, or you are in a difficult situation in traveling. It's hard for you to concentrate because while you're making salah, people are moving and the ship is moving, and you worry that you're in the way yourself. Now that salah is shorter, it makes it easier for you to focus. Also, you have the opportunity of joining this salah. You can bring it forward and you can bring it later. So you can see what is more convenient. Again, that when you are performing salah, you can be content with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not just we have to look at this in the sense that we have to perform salah no matter what. Also look at this compensations in the way that Allah has given us easy ways to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So firstly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ خَرَجٍ. This doesn't actually fit in with, it doesn't speak about traveling directly at all. Allah did not make anything difficult for us. There's no kharaj in this deen. So there is a qaida fiqhiyah. Of qaida fiqhiyah, there is a fiqh principle where al-mashaqqatu tajlibu al-taysir. Al-mashaqqatu, difficulty, will facilitate ease. Ad-darar yuzal, difficulty will cease to exist. So you'll notice in every factor and every facet of our religion, when we find difficulty, you will find there's an exception to the rule. So you have salah, for example, what we're speaking about now, it has to be made on its time, but there's an exceptions to the rule. When you're traveling, fasting, for example, it has to be done, but there's exceptions to the rule. When you're sick, or if you're traveling, or a lady with a menses, etc. Someone that is elderly now and his health is not as strong as it used to be, take salah when you have to stand. There's compensations for this, for you to sit. Zakah must be paid, but these conditions, you have to be eligible. So in every facet, Hajj is compulsory upon you, but then again, you have to be able to. And in Hajj, you're not, in the state of Ihram, you can't shave your hair, but there's really, if it's difficulty. So you find, whenever there's a difficulty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this Sharia is a Sharia that accommodates for that difficulty by giving you what they call rukhas or rukhsa, compensations, making it easy. So nobody has an excuse on the day of Qiyamah saying that I had things difficult and yet things easy. When you have things difficulty, then the deen comes and it facilitates things for you to make it easy. So that's called a rukhsa. The plural is rukhas. So that's a very important verse. If you want to check it up, Surah Al-Hajj, verse 78, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that وَمَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. He has not made for you in this religion anything that is difficult for you. أي إنه سبحانه وتعالى لم يشرع من أحكام الدين ما يوقعكم في الجهد والعنت. So anything that Allah has facilitated or anything that Allah has placed upon us is in our capacity. What is so difficult in this religion? And everything that has been made compulsory is only for our benefit. وَيَجْعَلَكُمْ فِي حِيرَةٍ مِنْ أَمْرِكُمْ حيثما يقع المسلم في ضيق. Explain that really. والسفر قطع من العذاب يفقد فيه الإنسان استقراره وأسباب راحته. So traveling is difficult. It's not easy. Some people love traveling. Even if you do love traveling, there is some difficulty and some sacrifice that is. You have to be away from your comfort zone, your house and your home and your family, your wealth, and so you're taking with what you have at your disposal. So there is some difficulty in traveling. Doesn't matter which type of travel or mode of travel that you choose. وَمَهْمَا كَانَ نَوْعَ عَمَلَ الَّذِي سَافَرَ من أجل ذلك خفف الله تعالى عن المسافر كثير من أحكام دينه. So you'll find when you're traveling, there's lots of ahkam that's being put down from you. Besides the compensation given to you, what other stuff do you know with traveling that's made easy? How else does it impact? Just the traveling. When you with the khuf, if you're traveling, then you have a longer time to keep on your khuf before you take it off. Okay. That's one. Jumu'ah. If there are certain rules and regulations where Jumu'ah becomes compulsory upon you. But if you're traveling, and especially if you travel before sunrise, before Fajr, then Jumu'ah is not compulsory upon you. If you travel after sunrise, then you have to ask yourself certain questions. Is it going to be a serious, is it really going to hinder your traveling? In other words, your flight is 1 o'clock. Say your flight is 1 o'clock, and Jumu'ah is going to be performed at 12:30, and if you perform Jumu'ah, you're going to miss your flight. So even if you leave after sunrise, in that case, then then there's some compensation where you have to get on the flight, and it won't be compulsory for you. You're excused to a certain extent. So traveling, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees the need for traveling. People are traveling all the time, and salah is accommodated for them. So كيف تكون صلاة المسافر? So how should we perform salah if we are traveling? رخص الله للمسافر في صلاة رخصتين. So there are two which I've mentioned. The first is you can reduce the amount of rak'ats that you're doing. Right? You can reduce it, so 4 become 2, and then that's it actually. 4 becomes 2. And that's a lot. That would be a lot. So you're performing half the salah of Dhuhr and Asr and Isha. So that's where it's going to impact. So that's called qasr. Salatul qasr. The word qasr means short, to shorten. So salatul qasr is the shortening prayer. It's interesting to know this because we see that Allah wants or has given us or made it so easy for us to perform salah that even if we're not traveling, now what? We're not traveling, so we should be in our comfort zone, and we should be more encouraged to be making salah. That even Allah encourages us to perform salah when we're traveling, so even more so we should be wanting to make salah if we're not traveling. So the second compensation, ضم الصلاتين إلى بعضها في الأداء ليكتسب المسافر أوسع وقت ممكن من الفراغ ويسمى الجمع بين الصلاتين. The other one is جمع. Jam is when you can bring the two salahs together, and we're going to look at how we do this, okay, how this is actually done. So the first one we're going to look at is Salatul Qasr. وهو أن تؤدى الصلاة الرباعية. What is not mentioned over here, which we'll probably discuss later, is the journey has to be, it mustn't be sinful. When the journey is sinful, then this rukhsa doesn't apply. So if you're going to a place where you know that you are going to be doing that which is haram, so you're going to do that which is haram, you're going to meet certain people, which is better to stay away from, then the rukhsa is not applied to you. You can't start making qasr, and you can't make jam, because the compensation is only given to someone who is taking a permissible journey. You with me? So that's quite interesting over there. So rukhsa is not given in sin. Secondly, the journey which we will discuss that is considered has to be more than 84 kilometers. About 84 kilometers. That is Saldana, how far Saldana is from here? Once you hit 7. Because Malmesbury brings you like 40 k's, something like 45 k's. Then I don't know how far is Saldana, but it's somewhere there, right? 84 k's from your hometown. The only problem is, certain scholars would add a certain criteria in there. Because you can travel now 84 k's in very quickly. You jump on a motorbike, you ride a bike top end, you can get there very quickly. 20 minutes and you can cover that distance. And now technically you can start making Salatul Qasr. So therefore some scholars have added that it must at least take up the whole day. It must take up the whole day. Some scholars have added that, but we will discuss that. So 84 k's is what we consider them. So the first, let's look at Salatul Qasr. And when we are there, when do you start making the Salatul Qasr and the Jam'? Remind me to answer that question. Like, when can you start making it? If you're going to Makkah, if you're going wherever you're going and you get to the airport, can you start there already? Or do you have to wait until you're actually in the sky now? So we'll look at that later. أولا القصر, the shortening the salah. وهو أن تؤدى الصلاة الرباعية كالظهر والعصر والعشاء ركعتين بدلا من 4 كما سنرى فيما يأتي من أدلة. So this is qasr is simply to reduce the 4 rak'ats of Dhuhr, Asr and Maghrib to 2. You can't reduce Maghrib because you can't have 3. And you can't reduce Fajr because Fajr is already short. Okay, so it's only the long ones, which is the 4 rak'at ones. You can go to 2, which is Dhuhr, Asr and Aisha. You with me? So you can bring 4 to 2. 4 becomes 2 when you're traveling. You with me? Alright? So, Al-Aslu fi mashru'iyyati al-Qasr qawlu ta'ala. So where does this come from? There's a verse in the Quran, or verses from the Quran. The first is أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإذا ضربتم في الأرض. When you are ضربتم. ضرب means to hit. When you hit the road. So when you hit the road, وإذا ضربتم في الأرض, when you are traveling, فعليكم جناح أن تقصروا من الصلاة. Allah says when you travel, there's no sin upon you that you can that you make short in your salah. So this means not compulsory. It is recommended, or not recommended. Let's say it's permissible. When we say it's permissible, there's two things. When we say it's permissible, are we saying that it is mustahab? Is it better to take it, or is it better not to take it? So again, scholars differ over here, but the majority of scholars are of the opinion that it is better for you to take the gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we don't want to refuse the gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which also means that we don't know what piety is. When we pious and we can make 4 rak'ats and while we're travel, we miss the wisdoms that is there. So of the wisdoms, shorter salah, stronger focus. Longer salah, less focus. رواه مسلم, this comes in hadith of Muslim, وغيره أن يعلى ابن أمية قال, he said, قلت لعمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه. So Ya'la ibn Umayyah, he says to Umar ibn al-Khattab رضي الله عنه, he says, ليس عليكم جناح أن تقصروا من الصلاة إن خفتم أن يفتنكم الذين كفروا فقد أمن الناس. So if you look at that verse, just listen to this verse and you see the logic of what he's telling Umar. He's saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that there's no problem for you to reduce your salah if you are fearing that those who reject will test you. So listen to the verse. There's no problem for you to reduce your salah if you are in a state of fear. Why? Because of the kuffar is going to trial you. So now he tells Umar that look, فَقَدْ أَمِنَ النَّاسِ, people are safe. They're not in a state of fear. Right? They're not in a state of, they're traveling, but they're not in a state of fear. فَقَالَ عَجِبْتُ مِمَّا عَجِبْتُ مِنْهُ عَجِبْتُ مِمَّا عَجِبْتَ مِنْهُ. So Umar tells him, I had the same issue. I was amazed, or what struck me, I looked at this verse, and then the same problem that you're going through. فَسَأَلْتُ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ عَنْ ذَلِكَ. So I asked the Prophet ﷺ about that. Because the verse is saying, if you are in a state of fear, there's no problem for you to reduce your salah. So what if you're traveling and there's no fear? Does that mean you can still make qasr or not? So Umar ibn al-Khattab asked the Prophet ﷺ, فَقَالَ صَدَقَةٌ. Then the Prophet ﷺ says, it's a sadaqah. It's a sadaqah. تَصَدَّقَ اللَّهُ بِهَا عَلَيْكُمْ, that Allah is given to you. Allah is giving you a sadaqah. فَقْبَلُوا صَدَقَتَهُ. So take the sadaqah. So Umar tells the Prophet ﷺ, I'm a little bit confused. I'm confused because we're traveling and we're safe. Now we want to make qasr. But the verse is saying if you're traveling and you're in a state of fear. So if we're safe, does that mean we're not supposed to make qasr? So the Prophet ﷺ says, no, your understanding is incorrect. This qasr is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that Allah don't accept. So he says accept the gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning that despite whether you are in a place traveling safe or you're traveling in a state of fear of something, the gift is still there. Make sense? Right. وهذا يدل على أن قصر الصلاة ليس خاصا بحالة الخوف ولا بد لصحة القصر من مراعاة شروط التعليم. However, you want to make qasr, we need to look at the following. We need to concern ourselves with the following points. The first is أن تتعلق بذمته في السفر ويؤديها أيضا في السفر. فخرج بهذا الشرط الصلاة التي دخل وقتها قبل أن يسافر. So the first thing is, the salah that you are going to perform has to enter while you're traveling. You can't, let's say Dhuhr is 3 hours and you decide to travel in the last hour of Dhuhr, which means that you were in a state of you could have performed salah at home. I don't know if this is the right example that I'm using. So when does the or rather you want to join Dhuhr and Asr together, right? You're traveling already, you want to join Dhuhr and Asr together, so when you bring Dhuhr with Asr, but Dhuhr, the entire waqt of Dhuhr you went home, so Dhuhr doesn't actually fall into your traveling, so you can't bring Dhuhr as 2 rak'ats, okay? And also you can't actually make jam there either, because Dhuhr has to be kept at home, or rather be kept as 4 rak'ats. The salah was not included as you're traveling. That makes sense? Yeah. So let's see over here. أن تتعلق بذمته في السفر. So the salah must be attached to that which is traveling, while he's traveling, وتؤديها أيضا في السفر. فخرج بهذا الشرط التي دخل وقتها قبل أن يسافر ثم سافر قبل أن يصليها فلا يجوز أن يصليها قصرا لأنه لم يكن مسافرا حين وجبت عليه وتعلقت بذمته. وخرج أيضا الصلاة التي دخل وقتها وهو مسافر ولكنه لم يصليها. Okay, so it is the first example. I was a bit reluctant to make it, but now I'm a little bit more confident. If Dhuhr is settled in, it's 1 o'clock, it's fard upon you. It's fard for you to make 4 rakats. Now you decide to travel, you can't make qasr. You can't shorten your salah because you were present at home in your residence when the salah was made compulsory upon you. So now that when you're traveling, you can't shorten the salah. So not that asr, yes, but not dhuhr. I'd say this according to this opinion. There might be other opinions out there. We can look at that a bit later, maybe in the next class. Also, an exception to this is as-salatu allati dakhala waqtaha wa huwa musafir walakinahu lam yusalliha hatta raja'a ila baladihi. So this is also, let's say you are traveling, it's dhuhr and you're still traveling. Now you get to Cape Town and you get to where Cape Town starts. Now you get to your residence, you are out. So dhuhr was a long time. So you were traveling while it was dhuhr and you got to your town while it is dhuhr. Then the compensation also stops because now you're considered as a resident. So you can't now still make the salah shorter because you think, okay, I could make it short while I was traveling, so I'm going to make it short at home or shorten it at home. It doesn't work like that. So that's the first thing. So the salah, to make it simple, all the salahs that is while you're traveling, you can make qasr. Not the salahs that you're not traveling. Number 2, أن يتجاوز سور البلد التي يسافر منها أو يتجاوز عمرانها إن لم يكن لها سور. This is an interesting discussion because when can you start performing the salah? So let's say you're going to travel out more than 84 km. So now you start traveling, and imagine we were in the old days and we want to know, we're out of our city. So it's easy. There's a big wall to the city. You get to a certain gate, then they pull up the gate goes down for you. And when you cross, you're out the city. Right? It's easy. But we don't live in those olden times, or even if there was, or by all the cities, there's no city walls anymore. So how do we know when can we actually start making the qasr? When we pass the city walls. So we don't have city walls. So what is going to be in place of city walls? So scholars, what they do is they consider that the cities where, like Umrana, where homes are constantly, right, they are packed together. So you get Wynberg, you get Plumstead, further up you get Athlone and all of these, after Athlone. So these areas packed on each other, right? But you find that after you pass like Athlone side and a little bit further, and then you get to that place where the cities just stop, and it becomes a little bit empty when you drive up the N1, or rather in the N2, where there's the cities are not constantly there anymore. So once there's a break, right, and you see that's where the homes are stopping, that's where you can start performing the salah, right? So yes, the airport is considered, like if you're traveling out of Cape Town, that is considered as where the homes stop. But I do understand there are settlements that is being connected now from further, right? So I don't know if that is still the case. Okay, but the last I heard of, maybe a couple of years ago, I checked that you can still make Zeenatul qasr at the airport. I don't know if there are any differences now, or if that opinion has changed. I have to check. Yeah.
In the case where you made dhuhr and you're now leaving the city where you're from, and you get to that area where there's no more built-up houses, does your qasr salah cannot start there?
Yeah, that's what you're saying. So,
yeah, what I'm saying is, at that point, let's say it's an hour after dhuhr, then you can make qasr salah.
Yes.
But then you bring asr down.
But you see the dhuhr, the problem
you
is...
just make asr then.
Asr you can bring forward, yes.
Just make asr.
Asr you can bring forward.
And at what point would you then make maghrib? Does it depend on your distance?
So this is the thing. When does this compensation get you? When can you start using it? Must you be out of 84 Ks? So the thing is, the minute you pass the city wall, then you can start. Even if it took you 15 minutes to get out there. It would take us 15 minutes to the airport, then you can immediately start there.
Yeah. Just asr then. And at what point do you see you're going to have a continuous travel? Then you do maghrib in each time?
No. So what happens while you are traveling, you can, then first of all, we didn't talk about jam yet, but we will talk about jam. So you can bring Dhuhr and Asr together. And you can
I
bring...
mean, if you've done Asr already,
Yeah.
on your way now.
Yeah.
Because you're going to do Qasr now. So you basically do it at the point of, before the 84 kilometers start. Whenever it starts, you can do Asr then.
You can do it before that.
Okay.
Long before that. You have to pass the city walls.
Okay.
Once you pass the city walls, and then let's make an easy scenario. Let's say you set out after Fajr.
Yeah.
Right? You set out after Fajr and you're going to go on a journey, and your journey is 100 km. So the minute you pass the city wall,
Yeah.
right? Now that compensations are there. So let's say you're traveling 30 minutes and now you get Dhuhr.
Yeah.
So now Dhuhr, you can make Qasr.
Yeah.
Even though you didn't hit the 84 market.
Yeah.
Because you're outside the city walls.
Yeah.
So you can make a Qasr. The same thing with jump. We'll discuss that now. Yeah. Makes sense? Allah reward you. So, إن لم يكن لها صور لأنها من مكان داخل الصور بلد. Okay, we discussed that. رواه البخاري ومسلم عن أنس رضي الله عنه حديث صليت الظهر مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بالمدينة 4 والعصر بالحليفة ركعتين وذو الحليفة خارج عمران المدينة. So simply, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, when he was on a journey, he made Dhuhr 4 rak'ats in Medina. Because he was in Medina, he made Dhuhr 4 rak'ats. But when you got to Asr, which is by Dhul Hulayfa, then he made only 2. So I don't know how far they would travel Dhul Hulayfa from Medina. Yeah, how many minutes is that?
I don't know if it's 20 kilometers. No, 20 kilometers Bir Ali out of Medina.
So if you look at that, right?
Yeah.
20 kilometers will take about 20 minutes car drive.
Yeah.
But you can really start making the 2 rakats faster.
Okay.
Because you pass the city.
Okay.
The city walls.
Yeah.
So that's number 2. So number 1 is all the salahs must be in the journey. Number 2 is that you must pass the city walls. Number 3 is أن لا ينوي المسافر إقامة 4 أيام غير يوم الدخول والرجوع في المكان الذي يسافر إليه. Okay. So once you get to this place, let's say you get to any place you're traveling by. Now this is only according to the Shafi'i madhab. The Hanafi madhab differs. I forgot what is their limitations. I'll have to check it. We can discuss that next week. Remind me. That's point number 1 I must mention. So if you intend to stay more than 4 days at a place, now there is differences of opinion with regards to this. The Hanafi differ, and there are other opinions also out there that's actually easier to follow, or they give you longer allowances. But 4 days in the Shafi'i madhab. If you intend to stay longer than 4 days, then you can't make qasr where you are staying. So if you go wherever you're going, Caledon, and you're there, and you stay more than 4 days, you can't make qasr according to this opinion. This is a strict view of or the more preponderant view of the Shafi'i madhab. What do we mean by the 4 days? You exclude the day you arrive and the day you're going to leave. That's not excluded. That's not included in the 4 days. So besides the day you arrive and the day, so the day you arrive is Monday. You don't count that day. You start counting by Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that if you're staying between more than Friday, and then you can't make the qasr, because then you will be considered like you're a resident, because you don't have to rush with anything. That is considered you can relax. It's almost as if you're at home now. You got a house, you can eat, you can leave when you want to, because you will be considered as someone that's like a permanent residence. So the Hanafi, I don't know, and I don't want to take a guess now, but it is longer. They give you a longer time. What is it?
It's a massive argument on Mina.
Is it?
Ugly. It becomes ugly.
Okay.
The Hanafi says, yeah, they don't want to do qasr.
Yeah.
And the Shafi says it's been granted to us.
Yeah.
So
I would think the compensation is more for the Hanafis, but I'm not quite clear.
They actually separated Jamaat.
Serious? Is it still up until up? Okay, then I'll have to look at that. So it's
yes.
We'll have to look at the difference here over there
Yeah.
and see. You see, the important thing over here is that there are differences of opinion that is tolerant.
Yeah.
You can follow the Hanafi madhab, or you can follow the Shafi
And that's
madhab.
what most of the ulama says.
Yes,
Now what she has said now,
Yeah.
don't worry about it, we do it so and they do it so.
and it's
They
fine.
do it so and we do it so, yeah.
Shukran for that. At least I know where this is applicable now. No?
Very sick.
So, the third one is andai. So you mustn't intend to stay more than 4 days besides the day you depart and the day you arrive. Okay, so that's important. فإذا نرى ذلك أصبحت البلدة التي يسافر إليها في حكم موطنه ومحل إقامته. If you do that, it's going to be considered as if you're staying there. The fourth one, أن لا يقتدي بمقيم. You can't follow a muqim. Muqim is a resident. So you get to a masjid, you want to perform qasr, 2 rakats. But the person that is standing in front is a muqim, is a resident. So you can't, and la yaqtadi bi muqim, you can't follow a resident. If you do follow a resident, you need to complete your salah. You can't take the compensation. You can't cut your salah if he's going to complete his salah. That's why you can't follow him. فإن اقتدى به وجب عليه أن يتابعه في الإتمام ولم يجوز له القصر. If you do that, you can't decide, no, I'm gonna go for 2. You can go for 4. You have to perform the 4 rakats like the Imam. أما العكس, where this is also an issue, is at the airports.
Very much.
The airport's like a Jeddah, so you get there.
Yeah,
You get to the airport and then everybody's a mufti and everybody's right and everyone else is wrong. You know, one of the signs of a ignorant person is that he claims to know everything with complete confidence. He's completely confident and everyone else is completely wrong. It shows basically that you only know one thing in the masala. You only know one way. So that would explain his confidence. I mean, if there's only one way in your mind, he was confident. But if you know there's differences of opinion in this now, you get a bit shaky. They ask you, does this? Then you're like, just give me a second, let me go check quickly. Because I know there's differences of opinion over here. You with me? أما العكس فلا مانع من القصر فيه. However, وهو أن يؤم المسافر مقيمين is the opposite. The opposite is actually permissible, with someone that's making qasr can lead a resident, right? So the resident comes in and is performing salah behind a traveler. That can happen, and he's making qasr. But in this case, when the imam is done, you obviously have to continue the other rak'ats. فله أن يقصر ويسن له. أما العكس فلا مانع من القصر فيه وهو أن يؤم المسافر المقيمين فله أن يقصر ويسن له إذا سلم على رأس ركعتين أن يبادر المقتدين فيقول أتموا صلاتكم فإني مسافر. It's interesting. When you're done with your 2 rakats, you must actually turn around and you must tell them, complete your salah because I'm traveling. You must tell them. Because they don't know. They just see you making 2 rakats, they want to know what's happening because the word is 4 rakats. Then you must tell them, complete your salah because I'm a musafir, so I'm going to stop here. Okay?
Is this in your salah you tell?
Afterwards.
And I mean afterwards.
Wow. So what happens is, you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You turn around and you say, guys, I'm traveling. You guys must finish your salah. Right? So what they do at that time, so if you perform salah, the Prophet ﷺ, I think it was Asr, and then they told him, did you forget or did you just leave out 1 rak'ah? Right? He missed a rak'ah. Then the Prophet ﷺ, he turned around and he asked them, is it true what he said? So they said yes. So the Prophet ﷺ turned towards the Qibla and he just continued. Which means that if while you're sitting in your salah, after your salah, you're technically still in salah until you get up and move away. When you get up and move away, now you know your salah is done. That's probably why you find there's a tradition in Cape Town to move away from the spot. You know, to move away from the spot. Have you seen that? Some people say so that pieces of earth can be testimony on the day of Qiyamah. I don't know, but maybe that's why that tradition is there. Move away. The proof of that is the following. دليل ذلك ما رواه أحمد بسند صحيح عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهم سأل ما بال المسافر يصلي ركعتين إذا انفرد وأربعا إذا أتم بمقيم فقال تلك هي السنة. So I never quite get this properly. Who's asking this? Ibn Abbas رضي الله عنهما أنه سئل, he was asked, so Ibn Abbas was asked, what is the issue with the traveler? يصلي ركعتين, he makes 2 rak'at إذا انفرد, when he is alone, وأربعا, and he makes 4 إذا أتم بمقيم, when he follows a muqim, فقال تلك هي السنة, so that is part of the sunnah. So when you're following someone that is a muqim, you must perform your salah completely. وجاء في حديث عمران رضي الله عنه وعمران رضي الله عنه السابق ويقول يا أهل البلد صلوا أربعا فإننا قوم سفر. Yeah, so he actually said, he tells the other people, guys, you need to complete your salah because we're traveling. Right? So make you do 4, we travel, so we're going to do 2. So that is interesting. That's interesting.
The other thing is when the resident imam leads a salah and you come in without knowing he's going to do 4.
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you join him in the hope that he's going to do?
No, then you must do 4.
Oh, then you must do 4.
You must do 4.
There's no way you can just, he's doing 4, you can do 2.
So if the resident imam is performing 4,
you must do 4.
Then you must do 4, yeah. So if you're not sure, rather just don't follow.
Okay.
Don't follow, rather make salah by yourself or until he's done. You see, the thing is about 4 is also, the thing is you want to take this compensation, you want to take it, it's a sadaqah, you can't do 4. By the airport you can't do 4.
Yeah.
But you want to do 2 because when do you have the opportunity to perform 2 rakats in your life? You know, you don't travel all the time, so it's a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, say take it.
Yeah.
You with me? So that's got to do with qasr, that's shortening the salah. What time is Aisha?
26.
26, okay.
Yeah.
The second, so it's 1:15 now.
No, 25. Yeah. Maghrib is 1:15.
Okay, we'll just go for another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is qasr. Okay, so qasr is a great gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you're ever fortunate enough to travel, then do take these gifts. Okay. The next gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is jam'. So just we need to just double check the Hanafi madhab. How much days do they allow? So the Shafi is only 4. Right? There's 4 days. Yeah? So I don't know I know the Hanafi is more. They're actually more. But I need to check. So Thaniyan, al-Jam. So this is jam when you're joining the salahs now. Now there's 2 types of joining. You can join Asr in Dhuhr's time, and you can join Dhuhr in Asr's time. Okay, you can bring Asr forward. In other words, you can make Asr 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, and then also you can make Dhuhr 5 o'clock if you want to with Asr, right? So you can bring Asr forward, or you can delay Dhuhr. You have that option. And the reason that option is there is that you can see how this accommodate to your own travel arrangements. You can see when you're boarding the plane and that type of thing, and you can see what is better for you. That's the one thing. The other thing is, it's better to delay Dhuhr till Asr than to bring Asr to Dhuhr. Right? It's better. If you have a choice, it's better to delay Dhuhr to Asr, because just in case there is a problem with your conditions of the safar, then at least Dhuhr will still be counted as qada, because you're making Dhuhr in Asr's time. But if you make Asr in Dhuhr's time, you can't make a salah before its time, then it's not considered as a salah at all. You see the logic of that? Technical point, but the options are still there.
Yeah.
The option is still there. It's just if you have a choice and it's both the same, then make Dhuhr later instead of bring Asr earlier. The same thing with Maghrib and Isha. But let's see how jam works. وَقَدْ عَرَفْتَ مَعْنَاهُ قَبْلَ الْقَلِيلِ. So you know that jam is to bring the 2 salahs together. Bukhari narrates the hadith from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu قال, he says, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يجمع بين صلاة الظهر والعصر. The Prophet used to join between salah of Dhuhr and Asr إذا كان على ظهر السير, when he was ويجمع بين المغرب والعشاء, and he also joined between Maghrib and Isha. There's also something called Jamsuri. Do you know what the Jamsuri is? Firstly, the Jam, just clarify this, you can only join Dhuhr and Asr together. You can't join Asr and Maghrib together, and you can't join Isha and Fajr together. You can only join Dhuhr and Asr, that's number one, and you can join Maghrib and Isha. And so that too. So
Join Asr and Maghrib.
you can't join Asr and Maghrib. Yeah. Only Dhuhr and Asr together, and then Maghrib and Isha you can join together.
Then you do 3 Maghrib and 2 Isha.
2 for Isha. That's if you want to take, remember the shortening is one gift and joining is another gift. So you can take both gifts of Allah. In other words, you shorten and join, or you can just take one gift of Allah, which means that you can for example shorten and not join, or you can join and not shorten. It's up to you, or you can take both. Okay, it's a gift.
Yeah. The advice is to take Dhuhr into Asr.
Yes.
to bring Isha to Maghrib. What is the advice?
No, to bring Maghrib to Isha, to push Maghrib forward to Isha, and to push Dhuhr to Asr.
To push Maghrib back to Isha.
To push Maghrib forward to Isha, and to push Dhuhr to Asr. It's that. Both is permissible. You can bring Asr in Dhuhr's time, or you can bring Dhuhr to Asr's time. Both is permissible. Same thing with Maghrib. Maghrib you can do in Isha's time, or Isha you can do in Maghrib's time. Both is permissible. But between the two, if there's a choice, what is just preferred, better, is to push the Dhuhr into Asr, or to push Maghrib into Isha. The reason for that is, if there is a problem with your conditions of taking the compensation, at least the Dhuhr and Asr that you're making in Asr's time will be considered as qada. But you can't, if you brought Asr to Dhuhr's time, then it's not considered as qada, because you can't make qada before the time. You with me? So,
Just about 28 minutes for something.
okay. So, this hadith comes from Ibn Abbas, أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم جمع بين الصلاة في السفرة. سافرنا هذا في غزوة تبوك فجمع بين الظهر والعصر. In the battle of Tabuk, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم joined between Dhuhr and Asr, والمغرب and Isha joined between that two as well. قال سعيد بن جبير رحمه الله تعالى قلت لابن عباس ما حمله على ذلك. Why did he do that? قال أراد أن يخرج أمته and لا يحرج على أمته. He didn't want to make it difficult upon his ummah, that's why he joined. We just speak about Jamsuri. I don't know if it's going to come here. Jamsuri, if you are sick or it's very, very difficult for you, then there's something known as Jamsuri, where you can, let's say Asr is 4 o'clock, for example. Then you make Dhuhr at 10 to 4 or 5 to 4. Then when you're done making Dhuhr, then Asr sets in. So it's not actually a jump, it's just it look like jump. Because you're making, this is not obviously something that's encouraged that people must do. It's just if there is a very difficult situation, for example, someone's very sick and he can't get up. For him to take Dhuhr, to take wudu twice can take all his energy out, and you get people like this. So then you can tell them, look here, let's delay Dhuhr, okay, till the very edge, okay, and then you make Asr. Doesn't have to do it all the time, but there is that's called Jamsuri. It's not really jump, but it looks like jump. ينقسم الجمع الصلاة إلى قسمين. So you get جمع تقديم and جمع تأخير وجمع التأخير بأن يؤخر المقدمة إلى الوقت. So you get the jump that's preceded and jump that's delayed. The preceded is to take the latest salah and bring it forward. That's called preceded. And the jump ta'khir, which means the delayed jump, is when you take the salah that is in the time now and you're pushing it later to that. I think we'll stop there, inshallah.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of information for tonight. But interesting discussions. Any questions? Well, we talk about
Is it encouraging Ikama?
Actually, I don't know. I've checked that again. But what I offhand is Iqama for both.
Oh, we can make
Iqama for both, but Adhan only for one.
For one.
Yeah. Okay.
So very touching is the Jam Salah.
Yes. So we must pay more attention to it.
But Sheikh said in the beginning, everybody becomes an alim and a mufti.
Yeah. I've seen that at the airport. I didn't have the opportunity to stay on Mina. Allah grant us all that. I mean, but yeah, I saw
What would be the advice from Moulana to do what you understand, like I learn what I learned, to do it that way?
The first thing is to be tolerant. To be tolerant. Like, don't look at it, everyone else that they're wrong and we're right. Because the Prophet ﷺ, another hadith where the Prophet ﷺ says, La yusalliyanna ahadun illa fi bani Qurayza. Nobody does make. The Prophet is coming back from a battle and he said, don't put down your weapons, we're going to make salah by Bani Qurayza. Like, nobody's going to make Maghrib, Asr, sorry, La yusalliyanna al-Asr illa fi Bani Qurayza. Nobody else make Asr except by Bani Qurayza. So so the Sahaba traveling, they went to Bani Qurayza because they're not going to make Asr now, they're going to make Asr in Bani Qurayza. As they were traveling, then they realized that the sun is setting and we didn't make Asr yet. So now they say, the Prophet said we mustn't make Asr except when we get by Bani Qurayza, and we're not there yet, and Asr the waqt is going out. So then some Sahaba said, no, what the Prophet did was we must rush to get there before the waqt is out. That's how fast we must go there. And then others said, no, don't matter, we're still going to make salah here, because the Prophet said we mustn't make Asr except when we get there. So some consider the place and some consider the time. When the Prophet eventually came to Bani Qurayza, they told him, okay, we got a problem, we're not sure what you meant. The Prophet he left it. Which means that there's a grey area. And this grey area is part of Islam. So we must be tolerant. That's number one. And do what you were taught. Do what you were taught, yeah.
Moulana need the rest now.
Huh?
Moulana need the rest.
Shukran. Stop there. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, we'll stop there.
Shukran.
Shukran.
And enjoy your Jummah on Friday.
Where was it?
On YouTube.
Oh, where was that?
In Penarama.
Oh, in Penarama, yeah.
You got to give your baby.